the rules with intermittent fasting and snacking? I get a lot of questions about snacking, like, are you allowed to snack during the eating window? And also, what do you do when you're around snackers all day and you're trying to fast? And so since I have experience with both of those, let's talk about it. First of all, when I had an eating window, so before I started eating OMAD, one meal a day, I had an eating window, and I had one rule for my eating window, which was just eat during the eating window. Don't eat during the fasting window. I kept it very simple, and I'm really glad that I made my rules so simple because it was really easy to stick with it and to know that I was doing my plan. So I never had a rule against snacking. However, I did find that as my fasting window got longer and longer, I started to really realize how often I had been snacking out of boredom, or because I was stressed, or because I was tired, and I was just mindlessly eating a lot of times. And so as I started to learn that, I started to, in my eating window, I started to ask myself, like, are you actually hungry right now? Like, if you're wanting a snack, that's fine. And I would always let myself have the snack if the answer was, yeah, I really just want a snack right now. But a lot of times I found I was procrastinating, or I was just feeling stressed. And so I wouldn't eat during those times. And overall, what I started to notice was as my fasting window got longer, by the time my eating window opened, I was good and hungry. So I would sit down and eat until I was good and full. And then that would keep me full until, supper time. And then I would eat supper. And usually though, I would have a small snack right before my window closed, because I always wanted my fasting window to feel as easy as possible. So my recommendation would be focus on your results and focus on whether or not you're actually wanting that snack because you're hungry, or are you just eating because you're bored, or you're stressed? And, if you're having good results and you're snacking, I say continue to snack. Don't feel guilty about it just because you like to snack. But what do you do when you are fasting and people are snacking all around you? And I have experienced this from day one because, I am at home with my kids who all homeschool, and my husband works from home also. So we're like, it seems like someone is always eating in the house. Basically, our schedules are all different and people are doing their own things. So throughout the day, people are eating. Now, since I went so gradually with pushing out my eating window, I never felt like this was a huge challenge. Ultimately, the thing you have to do is simply not eat. If somebody's snacking next to you, just don't eat. Like, just be aware. Don't mindlessly, because that is easy to do. Like sometimes somebody will be eating something, you'll just, you won't even be thinking of it, and you'll pop something in your mouth. But you have to just learn to pay attention and not do that. It gets easier over time to be around food while you're fasting. It's kind of like a muscle, your fasting muscle. The first time that you are around somebody and they're eating, but you just don't eat, it builds a little muscle, and it builds a little self-discipline. And over time, you become much more self-disciplined, and it becomes easier and easier and easier just with practice. But give yourself a lot of grace. Don't beat yourself up if you find like, oh, I snacked, I didn't mean to. One thing that really helped me too was if someone was nearby and they were eating something that just looked delicious, I would remind myself that I could still have that same thing that very day, just in my eating window when it opened up. And so that can help you with your self-discipline a little bit too, if you're finding that you're really tempted. The main thing to remember is to actually give yourself that thing that you promised yourself. Don't lie to yourself and say, oh, well, you can have that later, and then, not give yourself that thing. Be sure to follow through. And finally, if you find that you're like constantly really hungry in your fasting window, and that's why the snacks seem so tempting, I would say you're probably not eating enough in your eating window or at your one meal if you're doing OMAD. So I would increase the food intake so that the fasting window feels easier. I found that it is possible to eat plenty of food so that you're nice and full during your fasting window, but you're still losing weight overall. And I think that's the thing to shoot for. So that's my experience with snacking and intermittent fasting. I'm curious to know, what kind of rules do you have around snacking? Do you enjoy snacks and you found that you can still lose weight? Leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe down below. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it helpful. If you're currently trying to lose weight and you're just having a hard time, check out my Slow and Steady Success Academy. There you'll find a course called Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss 101, where I take you through the entire process from start to finish and how to implement intermittent fasting successfully in your life for weight loss. The link is in the description. The All Access Pass to Slow and Steady Success Academy is a monthly subscription plan that gets you access to every course that is currently available in this academy, as well as any that will become available in the future. Also, you'll get access to our private All Access Pass members only Facebook group.